If you travel to the northeast side of the Commonwealth, you find a swimming pool called the Slog. The unique thing about this settlement is that all of the inhabitants are ghouls. The Slog should be infamous to you by now because every settler in every other settlement you have constantly talks about it.
You hear about the farm run by ghouls? Isn't that something?
There's a small open-air workshop to the right of the main shower area where you find a ghoul named Arlen Glass. When you approach him, he doesn't notice you. He's bent over tinkering with something. It takes a bit of prodding to get him up.
To ignore you, just got caught up in my work again.
Arlen Glass is a toy maker. Specifically, he designed and worked on the Giddy Up Buttercup children's toy that was popular over 200 years ago. His pet project over the last 200 years was to refurbish one of the Giddy Up Buttercup toys to working order so that some child would enjoy it. In order to do this, he needs a few Giddy Up Buttercup parts.
There's only one place to look for parts like this. The old Toys factory, south of Quincy.
If you agree to help him, you'll learn a lot more about Arlen Glass's history. There are a few ways to get the ID card that allows you access to the toy parts at the factory. But the way that gives you the most backstory is to travel to the Wilson Toys corporate HQ in the middle of downtown Boston. The place is swarming with super mutants, but it's also littered with notes, holotapes, and terminals that reveal a little bit about the story behind Wilson Toys and Arlen Glass. The terminals reveal that Arlen Glass worked alongside George Wilson, the founder of Wilson Toys, for nearly 30 years. Together, they built the entire line of Giddy Up Buttercup horse toys for children. Arlen Glass was the principal designer, and he spent his time thinking of new ways to create fun toys for kids. But it all fell apart. In a note called Resignation Letter, we learn that George Wilson resigned from his post as president of Wilson Toys and gave the presidency to his son, Mark Wilson. In the note, he apologizes for working too hard and admits that the toy business did not come naturally to his son. And yet he gives the presidency to his son anyway. This is the problem with nepotism. Mark Wilson was clearly not designed to be the president of Wilson Toys, and yet, because he was the founder's son, he was given the position he did not earn, and it led to the ruination of the company. We learn from terminals that as the United States and China began to become more aggressive, the military approached Wilson Toys and requested that they start to manufacture munitions, specifically landmines. This project was called the Scythe Program, and Mark Wilson agreed to it readily. In a note called Buttercup Sales, we learned that Mark is winding down the production of Giddy Up Buttercups to focus on munitions. When Arlen Glass found out, he was not happy. In a holotape labeled Arlen's Manifesto, Arlen tells Mark exactly what he thinks.
Mark, do you know why toys are important? They help children dream. They let them imagine a better future beyond this blasted war. They give them hope. 30 years ago, I met a man who understood that. Your father and I built Wilson Toys on that hope. He poured his life into that hope. And now, you've thrown it all away, sold it in search of a quick profit. It's still not too late. If you won't do it for me, for your father, for the company, then please do it for the children.
Arlen's manifesto makes things pretty clear. He's not against the manufacture of munitions due to some political reason or because he's anti-war or something like that. Instead, he's a purist. He wants to make toys for kids because he believes toys give children hope. He has a daughter named Marlene. He brings his daughter to work with him every now and then, which we learn from a note we find in the factory called Reminder. Arlen's wife Cheryl reminds Arlen that his daughter Marlene is coming to the factory. He loves taking his little girl to the toy factory to show her the toys that he's designed. In Arlen's personal terminal, we find a holotape called Marlene's Holotape that shows just how much Marlene loved her Toymaker daddy.
Go ahead. Hi, Daddy. When are you coming home? You work too much. I want you to read to me again. Mommy says you're helping all the horsies find good homes. Take care of them, okay? I love you. Oh, Buttercup says she loves you too. We miss you. Come home soon.
That's what he's about. He's a father. He loves toys. He loves his kids. He knows that George Wilson, the founder, would never have allowed his company to start making munitions because that detracts from the purpose of the factory, to give kids hope. Arlen couldn't keep this viewpoint to himself. In a holotape called Mark's Warning, we learned that Arlen called Mark out in front of the board, and Mark fired him for that. When Arlen Glass was fired, it reverberated throughout the company. Nate, who appears to be Mark's right-hand man, left and went home when he found out that Arlen had been fired. His girlfriend Paula saw him go home and saw that he was really upset. The event caused them to miss a prearranged date. It's clear that Nate sides with Arlen, and the fact that Mark doesn't get the support he wants clearly rattles him, to the point where he threatens Nate's job too. This man was never meant to be the president of Wilson Automatoys Factory. But his connections with the U.S. military paid off. On the day of Armageddon, Mark Wilson gets a note from a man named Tom that reads, "Bombers incoming. Get to shelter. See you on the other side." This likely came from one of his connections to the Scythe program. But the news came too late for Arlen Glass, who had been fired earlier that day. He was on his way home to see his daughter when the bombs fell. We learned that from Arlen himself.
When it all happened, I tried to get back, but the city was in chaos. By the time I got home, there was only a crater. I lay down in the ruins. I just wanted to die. Instead, I woke up like this.
If you give Arlen Glass the toy parts, he rewards you like any other quest. But if you give him Marlene's holotape that you find in Wilson Automatoys HQ, you see the pain of a man who has lost everything.
I think I have something that belongs to you.
Holotape? Let's see now.
Go ahead. Hi, Daddy. When are you coming home?
Oh, God.
You work too much. I want you to read to me again.
Look at his face. For the past 200 years, Marlene, his daughter, has just been a memory. But in one moment, 200 years vanishes, and the little girl that he loved more than anyone else in the world was with him again. A voice he had not heard for centuries. A voice that he had probably forgotten.
Oh, Marlene. Give me a minute.
In a brief moment, it all comes into perspective for Arlen Glass. He built those toys to give children hope, but what did his one child want? She just wanted her daddy. You work too much. You work too much. Marlene is long gone, but what is he doing? He's still working on those stupid toys. That work took him from his daughter. And yes, he was a good daddy. He brought Marlene to the office. He tried to make his work and make the toy business part of her childhood. But Marlene didn't think about that. She just wanted her daddy. Daddy, you work too much. I think those words really hit home to him at that moment. Because after that, he no longer made toys.
She was right, you know. I did work too much. And now I'll never hear her voice again. Never get to hold her. Kiss her goodnight. All I have left are the memories. And this tape as one father to another. Thank you.
If you give him the holotape, he thanks you. And that's that. If you come back a few days later, Arlen Glass is gone.
You looking for Arlen? He up and left a few days ago. Said he was going to look for more toys to repair. He seemed different, like he'd made his peace with the world. Don't know what you did, but thanks.
But in his place is a fully restored Giddy-Up Buttercup toy, along with a note. For a child who needs it, Arlen Glass. I can think of a little boy who might like it, can't you? So, he's gone. But where did he go? Well, if you take a look at the terminal, right behind the toy, you see some personal notes from Arlen Glass. And you discover that he used to make frequent pilgrimages to the crater where his wife and daughter were killed. Perhaps Arlen went there. Maybe he just wanted to visit the crater that serves as the grave for his wife and daughter. Maybe he just wanted to be closer to them. There are a number of potential candidates for this crater, but I think the most obvious one is the Cambridge crater, because it's right in the middle of a residential area and there are broken houses absolutely everywhere. If you travel to the Cambridge crater, you see that it is indeed infested with feral ghouls. I came back time and time again hoping that I would see a glimpse of the Toymaker, but I was always disappointed. Until one day, as a father of a little boy and a little girl, stories like this are tough for me personally. But I've always believed that the sign of good storytelling, the sign of good art, is that it gives you perspective and it helps you prioritize. After I finished this story in the game, I went upstairs and I hugged my little girl and my little boy, and I counted my blessings. If you like this video, please subscribe for more lore-based videos and Fallout 4 content in general. And thank you so much for watching.